Good evening, Hobby World. Welcome to episode 56 of Hobby Roundtable. Nope, this is Personal Rips and Hobby Chat. I am 3B Collection, and joining me as always is Ken at Beans Beat Card Blog. We're here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern to talk about our hobby and yours. Feel free to join in the conversation and chat. How's it going?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I accidentally unplugged. I was thinking that what was plugged in was my printer, and I accidentally unplugged it, and then it started going through the computer, and I went, oh, hell. I just want to make sure you could hear me. Going well over here. How about you?
I'm doing good.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah, had a pretty good weekend. Then the week didn't start out so great, but did have a good weekend. So
let's start. I mean, hey, you'd rather the beginning of this week be a little rough than the end of the week, I suppose. So
yeah.
Take the small victory.
Go ahead and get it out of the way. The host of the morning night show.
I think he meant the morning night show. I think he meant Monday. But hey, everybody. Everybody's here.
Yeah, we got them. Well, almost everybody. We got Dan, Diego, Jenny jumping in.
After a week off.
Yeah. Had to be on the road last week, so
hey man, things happen. That's one of the challenges. It's one of the challenges of us doing a live show. I mean, it just is what it is. You know, if you do a pre-recorded show, you can't do your normal Wednesday night recording. You can do it Thursday night. But hey, things happen. All good. I know we were missed.
Yeah.
How are your chickens?
I had actually made a comment that I said, who was it? I think Mark Hall had said something about if everything was all right, and I told I kind of said I was on the road and I wouldn't set up to do a hobby drive like George. So.
Speaking of our friends in Korea, Dan's asking how are the grand chickens? Oh, chickens and grandchildren.
Chickens are good. Grandkids are good. Do have a sick little girl here, but I think she's feeling better now, so she's got it all out of her system. Hopefully.
I don't think Bo wants to see my face on his big screen anyway. It's probably a blessing. Yeah. Probably a blessing, Bo.
And we're kind of wondering because one of the other grandkids is he's gotten sick as well. He's got the same thing, so we're kind of wondering if we didn't just pass it off to each other.
Dun dun dun.
I don't
know. Hopefully you can get it out of the house by the weekend.
Yeah, I'm hoping it stops where it's at. Don't get over to me, because so far I've been all right, so it's just funny that it hit everybody else this morning. So between last night and this morning. So hopefully I got the immune system to kind of fight it off.
You're just gonna sleep in there, just do
that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
18-hour streaming hobby chat. Just bring anybody on that wants on.
Yeah, we can do that. I didn't. I tried to hang out back here as much as I could today. I actually got some stuff cleaned up. I was going to tell you before we went live. I feel like I can run it here now because I've got my floor cleaned out and I got my shelves put in. Like, was it? It was George that did the one piece of furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was hobby drive, and I told him, I said, I don't know if you classify it as furniture, but I can definitely use some more shelves. So I had I got a closet space in here that I kind of had a kind of almost like a shelf like this one back here, just kind of stuffed inside of it. I had stuff put on top of it, and it just wasn't cutting it. I still had stuff on the tables and on the side of the wall, and I got that put in, and I cleaned this everything is up now, and I still got to get it more organized, but at least it's off the floor.
Yeah, when he went through and showed his what he had going on, I was like, man, there is no way in hell I would be brave enough to show what I got going on, because it is unorganized freaking chaos. It is awful.
Yeah.
But that's one of my resolutions for next year is to just kind of get all that tightened up, cleaned up. I've been selling on eBay, so get rid of a lot of stuff that way, and hopefully a year from now, things will be completely different. Nice little 180. Evening, Mark. Thanks for joining us.
Jenny says,
yep, go ahead.
No, I was trying to figure out what Jenny was talking about. Said her 2-year-old dog suddenly hates her touching binders, so I feel guilty. Oh, dog gets jealous.
That's how I read that. That's how I read that.
Okay. When I first started reading it, I thought she was going to say the dog got a hold of the binders. The dog gave a collection.
Yeah, I will say that when we're in the living room and we got TV on and I'm doing some stuff. I say with cards, but sometimes it's just stuff on the laptop. Yeah, Lola will come over and she'll start nosing at my hand, like pet me. It's been 3 minutes and you haven't pet me. So right. Yeah, I definitely get that. Definitely get that.
But yeah, I've got it all on the shelf. I just need now I've got to rearrange some boxes and I've got to get some more boxes. I need some more of the 3,200 count boxes. I was gonna go Saturday to a show in Spartanburg and pick some up, and I didn't make it just because of what my little girl, she had a recital for one thing, and then what we did Saturday night with the kids and all, and I didn't make it out. But I have filled my last box full with my Braves cards, and I'm having to stack them up in the corner so I can get another box.
All right, so hey, great topic that is completely impromptu. Question for you. You mentioned a 3,200 count box. What is your bulk box of choice? So what is your favorite one? Any one that's bigger than like a set box, so something that's at least 2 rows.
Oh, probably the 3,200 count.
So then do you like the one that is the full lid where you can only put sleeves in there, or do you like the half lid where you can get the top loaded cards in there too?
I do the half lid.
You do the half lid with the top loaders?
Yep.
Would you say most of your stuff in there is top loaded, or is it sleeved, or is it empty?
But I like to have it's kind of 50-50. Some of the stuff is, a lot of it's not. But at least that way, if I got a few in it, I want to put in a top loader. I don't have enough to where I can separate them out and say, well, I'm putting all my top loaded cards in here and all my sleeve cards in here. But
I mean, that's a nice problem to have, that you don't have that many. I've got so many of everything. I'm trying to get rid of the fibro boxes because those things are just too damn heavy.
Yeah.
Whether that be taking them to a show to set up with, when I was setting up with dime boxes, or whether it just be in my own house moving them around, those things are too heavy. So by my resolution for next year, one of my resolutions will be get rid of all 5,000 count boxes. I'll just have I probably got about 10 of them. I'll empty them out and be like, put them on Facebook Marketplace and somebody come take them for like $20.
So Bo says, well, Bo likes the same ones I do. The 4.0 is the 30. I think it's 32 or 3,400 count.
It's 32.
It's the 4.0 box, and it looks like, yep, for the same reason. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter for mine. I could have built the shelves whatever size I wanted, but I've never been a fan of the monster boxes, the big fibro boxes, just because they're so big. And I mean, if you fill one of them things up, it's like moving a bag of concrete.
They're heavy. They're actually, I mean, I guess they're probably not any more flimsy than the other ones, but they just feel flimsier because of the weight. They're always tough if you've got the full lid fibros, they're always, and you've set the box inside the lid. It's tough to get them out, because of the weight and how you have to like pull them by the side. Yeah, I'm done with the fibros. And what Bo said made some sense, because of how they fit his shelving unit. That makes a lot of sense too. Depending on what you have, depends on, what you want to use. But yeah,
the way that I built these the shelves that I built over the weekend, I built them to where the 4-row boxes like he's talking about, I can get, like he said, I can get 3 across, and I get 2 high, which I don't want to go no higher than that because I don't want to put that weight and risk something falling or whatever. And it just, I mean, everything will fit snug, and it gives me because of the way the closet's laid out, it gives me a corner over here right behind the door that I can add the little like a L shelf. So it gives me a spot to like put the stuff that I want out of sight, like extra top loaders, extra whatever.
So I want to get it. Like I said, I want to get everything out of my 5 rows. I want to get down to just the 4 rows. Depends on what I'm doing, whether I like the half lid, because the half lid ones are the ones where, again, you can put the top loaders. But I do like the full lids for like my personal collection, when I'm just kind of storing bulk, like, all my Charles Barkleys, all those kind of things. They're sleeved and then they're just in the full lid boxes. But my for anything that's going to be put in more than a sleeve, I found on eBay, they're 3-row boxes intended for graded cards.
I saw
they're a little price. They're pricier. They're not done by BCW Ultra Pro or whoever else makes those. But I like those because I have moved a lot of my stuff to semi-rigids, and those fit in there because they're taller. They won't fit in the other boxes. I mean, they're not as tall as a graded card. So there's that. There is some wasted room at the top. But since that's how I like to store mine now instead of top loaders, that's actually my favorite box. But of the regulars, yeah, I'm definitely a 4-row box guy. I appreciate Jenny and Bo chiming in with what theirs were. Yeah, I'm starting to think like nobody likes the 5-row boxes. I mean, honestly, you don't really see those very often at shows or anything just because they're too much. He likes the wider row boxes, so I'm thinking that's the same one you were talking about, the one you can fit I'm assuming he's meaning the 4-row with a top loader. Yeah. Those even get a little heavy, and it depends on your, like you said, it depends on your shelving unit, because I don't know that the 3 rows are a ton different in card count, but they're longer. They're thinner, so it just depends. Can you get 4 of them? Can you get 4? You have a deep shelf. Can you get 4 of the 3 rows on instead of 3 of the 4 rows? Mm-hmm. Again, I do think there's something to be said, or a lot to be said about. It just depends on what's set up you're fortunate enough to have, what you want to do.
Yeah. Mark says he uses 2 rows for graded cards with full lids.
I don't know that I know about those ones. I'm just trying to think the 2 rows. Yeah, I think all the 2 rows I have are the half lids or the third lids. You know what I mean? Not the full lid.
Let me grab it real quick.
And that sucks, George, when for you buying the wrong ones, because I mean, I'm guessing maybe can you get some of those local, or did you have to order those from the States, or were you able to get them there? Hopefully you were able to get them over there. I mean, with gaming and stuff, hopefully it's not too hard for you to get those. Yeah, and I agree with what Jenny said about the 3-row boxes, that they are long and then they're hard to stack with any of the other boxes. They don't fit real well with anything else. That's now when you're trying to pack a car and you're trying to play card Jenga, when you're trying to set up for a show,
right?
Nice to have a little bit of mixture of everything, because you can kind of get some extra stuff in there. But if you got a whole bunch of 4 rows, once you run out of room, you run out of room.
Jacob says he wants to go with all the 2-row, which is, I guess, the shoebox.
Yeah.
But now
there's the shoebox, but then there's also the graded card shoebox that's obviously just a little bit taller.
I found these. I don't remember where I first saw them at, but I went last time I went to Spartanburg. I picked up 5 or 6 of them, but it's the 800 count single row, and the card fit in there just like they would in like the set boxes, but just the fact that you get the full lid comes off.
Yeah,
and I use them for like when I'm working on a set, which that's what this is. It allows me to pull what I would trade and put to add them, and then once I get it full, I put it in the binders or whatever. But basically what I use them for. But I like these.
I do like the lid. I do like those lid boxes over the hinged lids, just because it is kind of hard. It's kind of wonky to mess around with those hinged lids. Although I have a 4-row box that has a hinged lid, believe it or not. You put it over and then you fold the tabs in like on the normal set boxes. Mm-hmm. I got that. I bought a bunch of vintage cards at an estate sale probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I just kept that box because I was like, it's so different. That's got to be from like the late 70s, early 80s. I've never seen another one. But it is really inconvenient to use, I have to admit.
Right. I vaguely remember those. I've seen them, but I hadn't. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen one. But yeah, I would probably hold on to it too if I had.
Yeah, I guess, George, if you want to get the ones you want, I guess since it sounds like you just have to give cards away online over there, you might just have to give the boxes away. Nobody's gonna trade you for them. That stinks. But like I said, at least you didn't have to pay a bunch of stupid shipping from the States because of the size and the weight of those, boxes. Because the sizes are just so weird on those.
But yeah, I'm torn. I'm trying to remember where I first saw them boxes at. There is a because you've seen the shoe, like the old shoebox housings.
Mm-hmm.
Like BCW makes them. They make them for these too, and they're perfect for people that if you sort your cards by team.
Oh yeah.
You can have a section for each team if you have that many. You know what I mean? It just makes everything a lot simpler. But because I think you can get. Well, it would take two. It would take two of the houses.
Because it's 16 and it's 16 in a house, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have any of them. Just with the way I do things, I would never have a need for them. But I definitely see where they could be very beneficial for a lot of people. If I was taking like I said, some of my bigger player collections where I've got hundreds of cards, I put them in the 4-row boxes. But if I was actively getting in and out of those a lot, yeah, those card houses would be, a heck of a lot more convenient.
Yep. Now here's what Jenny brings up a good point this is something I'm kind of struggling with now too, since I've acquired a lot more of like the Freddie Freeman PC. I want to put them in a binder just so that it's easier to look at, but I don't want to put them in a binder and then 6 months later come up with another parallel of a card I have, and then I ain't got a spot to put it with the rest of them.
Yeah, I can't. It's so tough to figure out how you want to do those things because, with a player collection, exactly what you said, there's a struggle. Now, if you think you're going to try to super collect and collect everything, which I know you don't do that with Freeman, you're realistic. You're not going to have all the 101s and all of the, number to 5s, 10s, 15s. But if you're trying to get them all, then you can conceivably leave that space. But at the same time, what do you do with your current year? Because, new stuff's getting released all the time. So do yeah, I've gone back and forth. I wanted to do player collection, some other things in the Z folios for a while, but now I'm kind of put the halt on that. I went from wanting to binder everything to put it into semi-rigids, and now I'm like, okay, maybe some of the semi-rigid stuff I should put back into binders. I don't think I've known anyone that's had a system that they can say they're truly 100% happy with. It's always is the grass greener on the other side?
So George says, just fill the binder up, and then once you get all of them, go back and put them in order. Can I just do that in a box? Because I hate pulling cards all ages.
You could do it in a box, but you said you want them in a binder, or did you want them in a box?
No.
It's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, I do want to get like maybe one of the Z folios, and maybe do like just a base card run.
Mm-hmm.
And with those, there's one of the 2011 tops base. There's one 2012. As far as tops, but then you'd have to factor in like Panini and and the rest of them, but and then maybe have like a I don't want to say a junk binder, but one that's more of a oddball binder with the different inserts and such as that.
Yeah, and going with what George is talking about, what Mike, baseball collector, my neighbor, he's just over in the next city. You know, he has a system. He's got the Monster, which is grading cards in. But that being said, though, there's something different about if pretty much what you collect is primarily graded cards, your options aren't as much. You know, you can't really put those in sheets. I mean, technically, you could use the four pocket sheets and put them in there, but who's going to want to do that? So it does definitely change it. But he also has, I mean, he's got a closet where he's got sets. He's got, you know, he showed off his Josh Hamilton collection for a response video, and it's in binders. So, you know, he's even got a whole lot of different type of things just based on what it is, what part of his collection it is. I know that he shows off and talks mostly about his, you know, his PSA Hall of Fame stuff, but he does collect a lot of other stuff too, just like we all do.
So Jenny asked, how does my binder card behind me not curl? I guess curl is in bow, or
like how when you sit them up, a lot of times if you sit them up for too long, like, and they're not packed super tightly, the bottom, the weight, like the bottom will start to curl, and it'll almost start to naturally curve or bend the cards that are in the bottom because of the weight.
Well, no, they're pretty tight. So
they're pretty tight. So I will say one thing. I don't know how many of you guys watch Pepino Man's videos. Do you subscribe to Pepino Man's channel?
I do.
Yeah. So I know what he does is if his binder isn't as tight, like you said, yours are pretty tight, so it's not as much of a thing for you. What he does is he'll put like a couple price guides or magazines or something in there to make it tight. And then if he adds more pages in, you know, he can take one of those out, because he also, for those of you that don't watch him, he has a card room, and he's got most of his binders behind him most of the time for his videos, because he's got Topps runs going back to I don't remember how far back he's complete, but yeah, he's got binders for every set behind him. And then it's not just Topps, it's, you know, Fleer, Donruss, stuff like that. And I recall that that's one thing he does. Me, I actually started sitting them the other way. I started sitting them on top of each other. But what sucks there is if it's not full, then you start to get everything starts to, you know, where you would open it, the other
that you gotta alternate them.
Yeah, and then it's just weird because then you don't know what's in there, you can't see, or you got to pull them all out. So, like I said, it's damned if we do and damned if we don't with all this.
I don't have the full run. I'm not even close. I think 81 is as far back as I go, besides the 72 set I'm working on. But
so have you ever thought about going back further, or is that just not anything you want to do?
Well, at the moment, it's just where I stopped at.
Gotcha. If you went further back, would you want to complete the set yourself, or would you want to buy it? Or I'm sorry, would you want to buy the complete set, or would you want to try to complete it yourself?
Oh, I'd want to try to do it myself,
even knowing it's going to cost you more.
Probably.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that's. I'm not.
Well, it's one of those things where it's one of those things where, yeah, it would cost me more, but it would cost me more over a span of time versus coming off of it all at one time.
And I'm not saying that's a wrong answer at all, because
it's kind of like putting on weight. You know, you 3 or 4 pounds here, 3 or 4 pounds there. You don't really notice it until you get on the scale.
Oh, I know that. I know what you mean by that.
So, but yeah,
yeah, what George says, I think right there, if you want to pull up George's last comment, I mean, I truly think that that's how all of us are. If you're like, okay, so most everybody that is in this chat and associates with us is a collector that has a significant quantity of cards. Now, there are collectors that can fit their entire collection into a 2-row box. They don't have a whole lot, but they have cards that are, huge values. And that's how they collect, and that's okay. But I think most of us are at least relatively similar in how we collect. And I do think that's how it is. I mean, we've all got binders, monster boxes, stuff that's top loaded, stuff that's sleeve, stuff that's not in anything. So I think that's, I think that's how we all are. And I think that's why part of our struggle. If all I had was a 3-row box of graded cards, I wouldn't have to worry about cards being in, do I want to put them in a binder? Because it's just not a thing. Right. I wouldn't worry about how to store any, what different boxes to use, because I only have 2 or 3 options anyway, and none of them are that much different. Do I want a 1-row vault, a 2-row graded shoebox, or do I want to get one of those 3 rows? So it's just always what it is.
I'm kind of the same way. It was what George says, there's different ways, whatever. Like when I start building a set, and I'm sure everybody does this, I start out in a box. Once I get up to maybe about 75% complete, then I'll move it over to a binder. And that just, limited as boxes are around where I'm at, it keeps a box free. It opens up a box for the next set or whatever. And then I'll work off finishing the set in the binder.
So why do you wait? Why do you wait though? Like, because I know how you do it for the most part. You go and you buy a nice size lot where, you're at least, say, worst case, you're probably halfway completing the set. Why not just go straight there and instead of starting in the box?
Now, yeah, on the flagship, I do.
Oh, okay.
Because I know that, I'm going to get within probably 15 cards of finishing it.
Okay. That's what I was thinking of, was your flagship run that you did.
Well, I'm thinking more like, I did the Heritage this year. Well, I did Heritage last year, and I did the Heritage this year, which I'm trying to finish up now. And I've got, for some reason or other, I've got cards marked off that I don't have. I don't know. I'm trying to remember if they were coming from sport lots or if they were coming from somewhere else. But anyway, I was getting ready to binder it up, and when I was looking at the checklist and was kind of pulling the cards out of the box to put in the binder, I realized that, I've got cards marked off that I don't have. And I know there was a reason, but I just can't remember what it was.
So do you use like a physical printed out checklist? Do you make your own checklist in Excel or Google Sheets? Do you use trading card database? What do you do?
I use trading card database.
Okay, so it's just showing on trading card database that you have them.
And but now I do print off, I pull up the want list and I will print off the need list and just kind of tuck it in the box with the cards.
Gotcha.
It's just kind of
okay. So kind of a combination of the two. Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's more of like a quick reference because most time if I'm looking at cards, I'm looking at it on a computer and I don't want to switch back and forth between trading card database and this site and this site and this site. And I'll have the list right in front of me.
Fair enough. That was another thing I talked about with Dr. Beckett today. Hint, hint, for those I talked with Dr. Beckett today. You soon may be hearing more about that. Very excited about that. All right. Nobody heard that. Yeah, I get what George is saying about now his card room's a mess. Yeah, that's part of, and whether that be cards or just needing to downsize at home in general. Yeah, it's like I don't have the space to move everything to get organized. So it's like, where do I start to, once I have a little more room, it's going to be quicker and easier. But in the meantime, it's not the easiest thing in the world.
When you start to fill a room up, though, and it gets to the point where, all right, I need to clean up. I need to clean this part. I need to clean this section up. Where am I going to put it while I clean it? Because I've got stuff over here.
Yeah.
And I've got stuff back here. So the only option you have left is the middle of the floor. And that's kind of where I was at over the weekend. I'm like, it looked like a bomb went off in here. I had a pig path. It kind of put me in mind of the the old hoarder episodes. They used to come on TV where they go over to people's houses and they had like a pig path that they walk through the house and this stuff just piled up. That's kind of what I felt like. It's like today when I got that done, I was so glad to have it put up and have the floor open back up.
Yeah. So this Christmas. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so where this Christmas tree is, and over here during the rest of the year, I have 2 different tables where I have boxes underneath that are full of like my used top loaders and all that kind of stuff. Well, when Christmas comes and I got to put the Christmas tree out, I got to move all that shit. So I got to move it, and then I got to move other stuff from where I want to move the box. Yeah. So the day that I did that, yeah, it looked like a damn bomb went off in here. I mean, anybody that has any kind of OCD, if they'd seen it, they might have stroked out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely the struggle.
But with all this put up, I still have the same problem that Mark said. That they appear out of nowhere. I don't know where they come from. They're all around me.
Yeah, unless you're literally good about every day putting your stuff where it needs to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like because I doing videos and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, some of my new stuff is here because I haven't made a video. Some of it's here because I have made a video, but it needs to go here with all of its cousins into this box. So yeah, you just end up with, in my case, it's mostly boxes. I'm fortunate enough I don't have a ton of piles, but that's because I have so many damn boxes that they're in boxes.
Mm-hmm. But that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's like, I opened a few packs of this, and I've got them stuck in these little top little things. Like, I need to put these on trading card database and put them up. It's the same way here. I got these. I just hadn't done it. They're sitting here. They're in order. They're ready to put on there and get put up. I just hadn't done it yet. So hopefully now that I can get to everything, I can do it a little easier.
Maybe get some time over the holiday.
Yeah.
You get a few days off here and there?
Yeah. I got we'll have 2 4-day weekends coming up, so back to back.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I got back-to-back 4-day weekends coming up.
Yeah, well, that's what I will too.
Oh, I thought you said 3. I'm sorry.
No, 4.
You were talking and I was reading comments, so it didn't work well together.
But now one of those weekends will be spent getting ready for a ball game. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Who are they playing again? I honestly don't remember. They playing Michigan.
Michigan.
Oh, okay. All right.
I ain't saying nothing.
When is that? New Year's? Is that New Year's
Eve?
New Year's Day? New Year's Eve. Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't trying to do nothing. I was just actually curious because I hadn't paid that much attention.
I think it's going to be a good game. But
yeah, WVU plays sometime next week in that freaking Cactus Bowl again, where it's like a 10:30 Eastern start, so 9:37, 9:45 or something for me. My ass ain't staying up to watch a fucking 6-6 team play at 9:30 at night. I mean, most of these bowl games are dumb anyway. It's a participation trophy. Finish 500, you get a bowl game. Mm-hmm. I'm so old. I'm so old that I remember when a bowl game meant you had a great season.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to get in football talk, but I have heard people say that if you can't lose your bowl game and still come out with a winning season, you shouldn't be in the bowl game.
I can agree with that.
But anyway,
there's just too many of them. Thanks, ESPN. Yeah, anyway, let's get back to cards.
Let's get back on cards and
before everybody tunes out because we talk college football.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 35 after the hour, and we still haven't even touched on your first topic for the night.
You mean my only one? We kind of went with the chat. That was my first topic. We pulled a bow. We wanted the group participation, and they participated.
Yeah, no, I honestly think we've prepared. We haven't really had topics lately, and I think it's actually turned out well. Because I do hate also when we do have the topics and we're trying to get everything in, and we kind of ignore the chat. I think that's something we do really well is trying to interact with everybody. We don't necessarily get to comment on every comment, but I think we do a good job.
Oh, well, I posed a question on Twitter, and I did it last week. Was was hoping to talk about it last Monday, but I getting in late, I wasn't able to do it. But the question was, do you still? And I worded it. We figured this out before we came on, but the way I worded it was, do you still collect your favorite player from when you first started collecting? So like mine was Dale Murphy. Dale Murphy was the first card I ever had, and he was kind of the player that I collected the majority of the entire time I collected, and even now. Although I have moved on and expanded into Freddie Freeman in the last 4 or 5 years, but I still went back and still collect Dale Murphy. But I just wondered who all or how many people actually still did that, or how many people over the years like, well, I used to collect George Brett, but I moved on and now I don't collect him. I collect Nolan Ryan or just whoever, or, a more modern day player, Shohei, whoever. But I just kind of, and I guess the way I should have worded it was PC, because that's kind of what I was after. But the number was actually higher than I expected it to be. But I think we determined that may be the way I worded it. So
I do think it was a little bit vague, but at the end of the day, just everything in the hobby, it's real hard to say specifically what you're thinking. So if you're ready to go ahead and share your results.
Yeah, and it was 78% said yes, and 21.9 said no, that they didn't. And those that said yes, a lot of them shared who they collected, which Diego, he had several of them. I don't know if these were all like his favorite players in the past, but a lot of the usuals: Ken Griffey, McGuire, Jerry Rice, Michael Jordan. I mean, a lot of the names you'd expect to see: Derek Jeter, Tom Seaver, Jose Canseco.
So let's call it for what it is. Especially if we started collecting when we were a kid, and that's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much all, gravitated toward superstars.
Mm-hmm.
Better or worse, right, wrong, indifferent. We just did. That's the way it was, unless you had a unique connection. Yours was Dale Murphy. Mine was Dale Murphy. And then his career was already winding down when I got into it. And so my next favorite player was Will Clark. Neither one of those guys are probably going to make the Hall of Fame, but they're Hall of Very Good. And by all accounts, I think most people would consider them superstars, throughout a good portion of their career. So, it is easy to kind of collect those guys. And a lot of those guys, because they are, or were superstars at some point in their career, were considered that, they end up in a lot of these old sets. Will Clark ends up in a lot of top sets.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some Panini. He's got at least one Panini Prism card from the early years of Prism. So, they're. If it was somebody, so in my case, so let's take Russ Davis. I'm a Russ Davis air quote super collector. I've got 80-something% of his cards. But he was not a superstar. I mean, he had a couple 30 home run years, but was not a superstar. There's no new Russ Davis cards out there outside of Rediscover Tops. So it's hard to say, if it's one of those guys, it's kind of hard to say you still actively collect them, especially if you have most everything. But for a lot of us, Dan mentioned Mattingly, even though he doesn't necessarily actively collect him, it's very easy to still collect Mattingly. And I collected as a kid too. I mean, that's kind of what you did. But, on the side though, I wanted to get every Will Clark card I could have. I wanted to have every Dale Murphy card I could have. I wasn't going back. I didn't start collecting actively until 87. So I wasn't going back and building all of the old sets with Dale Murphy in them, but I wanted the Dale Murphy cards from those sets. So kind of did both. So like I said, a lot, but Dan, with Mattingly, he could still, if he wanted to, he could still collect, new Mattingly cards all the time coming out. Burley still has, some new cards coming out. When you talk about Bo, you've got Ryan Sandberg, who still shows up in new sets. Earl Cunningham and Ty Griffin, maybe not so much. So you're not really adding a lot to that collection. And even if you have it, sometimes people don't associate having with collecting, if that makes sense. If you've already got everything, then you're not really actively collecting him, but he's in your collection. And I think I just talked for 7 minutes, so I'll let you speak.
No, you're good. But yeah, which I mean, when I first got in, like I said, I collected Dale Murphy, and as it came along, I collected. I held on to McGuire's. I held on to Canseco's. I held on to Frank Thomas when he came along, King Griffey Jr., stuff like that. And but the Murphys was the ones that I was always looking for. When I would go to a show or go to a card shop or something like that back then, when I walked in, the first thing I looked for was Dale Murphy's. And then from there, the King Griffey Jr.'s or Frank Thomas's or whoever. And at one point, because like I said, I had a store, a shop for almost 2 years. So, obviously I got all of those I could because that's what sold. So, and that's what every kid wanted, and well, pretty much anybody wanted. But now you talking about latching on to a player that was a superstar. One of the other ones that I had started picking up right after I started Dale Murphy's was Rick Kemp.
Didn't take you long to complete that collection, did it?
No, he has a total of 66 cards made total. It started in 77 was 77 was his rookie and ended in 86. No, yeah, ended in 86, and then he didn't have anything, none of the little extra oddball stuff or anything like that until 2017, 16, 17.
The rediscovers.
Yeah, it was like the anniversary buyback type deals or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you if you were collecting those. So are those included in your count of 66 that he has?
Yeah, that's his total count of cards that he has made.
Even the rebuys.
Right, the rebuys,
okay.
Which isn't technically not a made card. It's the same original card bought back and restamped or whatever. But
I consider it a unique card. I mean, some people don't.
It's listed on trading card database as so. But I haven't done anything with any kind of. I'm looking at it right like this. My Rick Camp collection is complete because I have every card from 77 to 86. Done.
So do you not even look for the other ones?
I have, but some of the buybacks are kind of hard to find.
Oh, they are. And I mean, there's not even a checklist on those. So who knows what years his are actually out there. And then are they, when you did the rediscover tops, at least there was the bronze, gold, blue, red. So who's to say that there's an 87 in all, or an 86 in all four colors and an 85? So don't even know what they are. Even the trading card database is just people adding ones that they know of.
Right.
So it's
like I said, I didn't even. I had a few of them selected as far as wanting them or whatever, but I haven't actively went and looked for them and probably won't. I'll just leave it at I've got his playing years and it's complete. So,
yeah, I definitely, a lot of the WVU guys and stuff that I collected from, mostly the 80s and 90s. Yeah, I definitely always want to get those. Same thing with the Russ Davis, Ideally, they shouldn't be too expensive because they're not superstars, but sometimes they end up on ComC with stupid pricing. But what are you going to do? I don't need it that badly.
I think the only thing of his that was on trading card database from his playing years that I do not have was and Mark probably knows what I'm talking about, but the Burger King lids.
You said from his playing days that you don't have.
Yeah.
You have an eBay search set up for that bad boy?
I did, and I think I've taken it off because I like 4 or 5 years and I never saw one come up.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're not getting the daily emails, unless it shows up, then
Trying to see if I can find a picture of one.
I'm just saying.
It was a Coca-Cola collector lid. Murphy has one too, and I don't have it either. His, I still have it set up for his. Let's see.
So why not? So why not do? Do you have it? Is it like Dale Murphy Coca-Cola or something?
Well, I basically got it saved just like they got it in the trading card database.
I was going to say, I mean, because you could do, you can kind of do the parentheses, do Dale Murphy, comma, Rick Camp, close parentheses, and then it would search for both of them if you're already searching for the Murphy. Just trying to say you could throw that. Just to put the Kemp in there or the Camp in there in the same one.
Yeah. That's it. So now you gotta wonder how many of these would actually be that would actually have survived and be out there.
So it's just like the top from like a 20-ounce cup or something?
From a cup, yeah. Because you can see like right here is where the straw would go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, hadn't even paid attention to that. Very, very interesting. Definitely, it said Burger King on there, Mark. You might have asked that before he showed it.
Yeah, it's Burger King. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you kind of got to wonder, how many of them is actually out there, because something like that's because the restaurant automatically put the lid on and give it to you. Well, it's already gotten wet.
Mm-hmm. And, those things weren't designed to be kept, so. Or intended to be kept. So, but I mean, that's how it was with a lot of the, early cards. They weren't intended to be kept and preserved for 110 years.
Yeah, shoved into a frozen pizza box and sitting right on top of the pizza or sitting right up against a piece of bubble gum.
Pizza grease, yum.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, with it being a regional issue, though, I mean, it would have had to have been around here.
Yeah.
Being the Braves. So, well, I say around here. It could have been here, Florida, Tennessee.
Hell, it's Braves. It could have been all the Southeast because, I mean, at that point, you didn't have any other teams. You didn't have what was the closest teams then were probably like Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Houston.
Yeah, because I mean, you didn't have the Marlins or the Rays or none of that. So,
yeah, I mean, you had probably a quarter of the geographical United States, at least the continental United States. Braves country. That's why they're so popular.
Yep.
But things will change as other teams have come along.
It goes back. I mean, it's an oddball thing, and it's not something that I necessarily have to have. I never even look at it until after I had gotten all the cards. It's like, well, I've gotten everything. Let me see what else is out there, and this was the only other oddball thing he had. So this and there's a police issue. It's like it's a set that was made, and this is definitely regional because it was team sets that was produced and has the Atlanta PD logo on it with some information on the back that was the cops walked around and gave the kids.
There's a lot of it.
They came packed in whatever number was in the set, and they just give the whole set out to kids, or they gave them out at games or stuff like that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of those out. There's a lot of those out there for a lot of teams across different sports.
Yeah, and I actually got those.
Popular. So. Make police sets great again.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like I miss all these oddball things, man. It's just why, take it for what it's worth. Is collecting can be fun now, and we have access to so much, but man, there's still something missing from how it was when we were kids. And everybody wants to make sets for kids. Wants Tops to save some for the kids, make sets for the kids. Well, a lot of what we did was the stuff that was on the Kraft macaroni and cheese boxes. It was in the Kellogg cereal, the police issues, the regional issues from like the Giant Eagle supermarket, which is where I grew up. The box sets that you could find at every damn drugstore and department store.
I mean, Eckerd's had a set. Revco had a set.
Yeah.
Kmart had a set.
Woolworths. Rite Aid.
Purina had a set.
Yeah, Ralston Purina. I mean, we can get Drake's Cakes in the Northeast. I mean, the list goes on and on. Yeah, make food and beverage cards great again, and these oddball cards. That, I'd never really thought about this, but everybody keeps saying, how do we get kids back into cards? Well, why don't we start there? I mean, I can tell you why, because MLB and the Players Associations are too damn greedy, and they're not going to make enough money off of it to make it worth their while.
But all of those sets, though, were pretty much issued through Tops or Fleer anyway.
No, I get that, but
because I mean, like, look at the cable. Let's see, was it the Kmart? Well, it was a lot of them, but I remember the Kmart set a couple of years was basically like a Montgomery set. I mean, it was the same Tops card; it just had the Kmart stamp on it.
Yeah, I mean, and the KB ones were done by Tops. I know some of the League Leaders box sets. The Tops box sets were typically 33 cards. The Fleer box sets were typically 44 cards. But yeah, I mean, start putting cards in freaking boxes of cereal, because even though kids aren't doing the same things we did, now they're playing their Xboxes and cell phones, they're still eating cereal.
Yep. And Bo's talking about the Cracker Jack cards this morning. He had a couple of them he was showing.
I remember those. And then, the Utz Chips ones have been out there. But, hell, we couldn't get those in Texas. I mean, again, I was saying regional stuff. But, yeah, let's do things where kids are getting these kind of things into their hands. But what I'm saying is these companies, they want so much that even if it's Tops or Panini who already have the contract, to do these little sets really isn't going to do anything for them either.
No.
And they don't want to spend time on something they're not going to make money off of. I'm going to blame it on the teams and players, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm going to blame it all on them. They're greedy asses.
But yeah, Mark and Diego both talking about the Utz potato chips, and that's something that we used to not have around here. I remember the first time I saw a Utz card before I ever even knew what the Oots or Utz was. But now we're starting to get displays of the chips in convenience stores, but it's the smaller bags, and I'm assuming the cards come in the larger bags.
I think, yeah, on here, I think all I could find was like the value packs of the smaller bags. So I never actually had any access to any of them.
Dan says Chef Boyardee. Yeah, shove a card down in a can of Chef Boyardee.
How about down a can of Busch Light?
Mm-hmm. Well,
for the kids.
We're talking about Purina, Jiffy Pop.
But yeah, I mean, those are the kind of things. Totally off topic, but yeah, we can go into Walgreens and get those crappy repacks that nobody wants. But what if you could go in there and get a 33 card set that has Fernando Tatis, Mike Trout, Freddie Freeman, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, name the top 33 most popular players.
And that's what they did back then too.
And that's what I'm saying. Imagine if you could do that today, though. That would potentially draw, because it's another place that kids could find them. Not that I am acting like a bunch of kids are going into pharmacies, but maybe grandma buys it.
Well,
and gives it to little Johnny.
Because the way some of these cards come out, some of the players, way the rookie cards do, if you put those kind of sets, those kind of sets, they had an endless print.
Mm-hmm.
They printed. So, yeah, it's a rookie card, but there's 100,000 of them made, so they're not going to be worth that much. So kids could afford them.
Yeah, I mean, technically not rookie cards because of the distribution method, but rookie year. But that's what I'm saying. More access to, again, kind of totally gone off the rails because we weren't talking about how to get kids involved in cards. But like I said, maybe even grandma, going in to get her prescription, says, oh, hey, Johnny likes baseball. Let me get him this little set of cards for $6, $7. I don't know.
He probably said the number one problem with that today.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying in theory, but again, if we are hitting junk slab era, and I think we're going to have a little bit of blowback on that, and you're not going to be seeing every common base card getting done. And like you said, if they're overprinted, they print them to the moon. And yeah, again, shelf clearing, while people are still saying they can't find stuff, shelf clearing is definitely not what it was 15 months ago.
No.
Because there are people finding stuff out there. So we're not in those times anymore. In theory, I understand what you're saying. But also in theory, those cards probably should come in better condition because they're not in packs. So
yeah. But that's what my Walmart, it's packed. The shelf's been packed for 4 months now.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you when it started, when the Topps factory sets came out, those are still sitting on the shelf today at my Walmart. And probably everybody's.
And a lot of the Panini stuff is sitting there because they raised the prices on those so much.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, yeah. But again, what do I know?
Yeah. The people, the flippers don't want to buy it if they can't sell it for 3 times as much. And the collectors don't want to buy it because the value's not in it.
The value's not in it. Yeah. I mean, and not only that, but yeah, you're charging more and putting less cards in there. So the collectors in general want quantity. And when you're only getting 20 cards in a $35 blaster, the collectors aren't going for that. In general, again, I'm making generalizations, so don't argue. Oh well, in general, I think most people would agree I'm right.
Yeah, the Topps update. That's the shelf right below the factory sets at my Walmart. It's flat full of the megas, the blasters, hangers, all of it. It's full of it, and it's almost like they bring more in every week, despite the fact that it's still sitting there.
And let's not. I mean, we don't need to get into societal conversation too much, but let's not forget that inflation's starting to cause some issues. And
it's hitting home for some people.
It's hitting home for some people, and what the first things you're going to bid of or not buy are things you don't need. None of us need baseball cards, right? Agree. Argue with me if you want. None of us need them. So,
yeah. Well, man, I think we stretched this all the way to the end. I appreciate everybody in chat, y'all.
It's you guys, man. It really is. You give us a lot. You give us a lot to talk about.
Y'all kept the conversation going. I appreciate it. It's like Ken said, that's what it's all about. We got Christmas coming up this week. I hope everybody has a safe and Merry Christmas. And we'll see y'all before the new year. So we'll save that for then. Ken, you want to say anything before we go?
Yeah, just Merry Christmas or, whatever you celebrate. I believe Hanukkah's already passed. Have a happy holiday. New Year's is a holiday. So everyone be safe, be smart.
Hey, and if you get cards for Christmas, tag us in it.
There you go.
We want to see it because I know I won't get any.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't think I will be either. So
all right, everybody, take care.